It's Radio Free 501c, the podcast of Rogue Tulips Consulting. I'm Cecilia Sepp, your host. Welcome to Season 7. This episode is supported by USAE News, the weekly community newspaper of Association CVBs and hotels. Learn more about USAE News at usaenews.com. This week, I'm joined by another first-time guest. It's Walt Leger from New Orleans and Company. He's here to talk with us about this great city, New Orleans, and how it's built to host. It's Monday, June 16th, 2025. Welcome to episode 289. Hey, everybody, it's Monday, June 16th, and that means it's time for another episode of Radio Free 501c. Thanks for joining us. To our global audience, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be. I'm your host, Cecilia Sepp. I'm the principal and founder of Rogue Tulips Consulting. I'm so glad you're here with us this week. We have our USAE News featured episode this week, and we have another first-time guest. But before I introduce him, I would like to encourage you to follow or subscribe if you have not already. We've been having a fabulous year of conversations, lots of different voices this year. You don't want to miss any of those. This week, I am really pleased to welcome Walt Leger from New Orleans and Company. I'm trying to say Nolans and New Orleans at the same time, and it's not working. But New Orleans and Company, it's a great city. We've all probably been there at least once, if not twice. So, Walt, welcome to the show. Would you like to say hello to the audience and tell us a little about yourself?
Yes, well, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be with you. We say New Orleans in so many different ways. It's tough to sometimes get out that New Orleans and Company, but it's a real pleasure to be with you. I am the president and CEO of New Orleans and Company. We're the official destination sales and marketing organization for the travel industry here in the great city of New Orleans. And I'm born and raised here. It's a real honor to be able to market, promote, and sell a community that I've called home for my entire life. I've really only ventured away to go to college just up the river at LSU in Baton Rouge. I came back to New Orleans for law school at Tulane University School of Law, practiced law for many years, served several years in the Louisiana legislature, 12 years. We can serve 3 4-year terms, and finished up being the Speaker Pro Tem of the House of Representatives for 8 of those 12 years. So loved my public service, loved the years of the practice of law. But when given the opportunity to join New Orleans and Company in 2020, I jumped at it, and a couple months later, COVID impacted all of us and threw the travel industry into chaos. So the last 5 years of my career have been spent here in a couple of different roles, most recently becoming the president and CEO over the last 3 years, and work with an incredible team here, representing a remarkable city. And I look forward to just visiting with you today and chatting a little bit about that. We really thrive on welcoming people into our community for a variety of things, and excited to visit with you about that today.
Well, and it is an exciting city. It's got a wonderful history. I grew up a little further north up the river in St. Louis, Missouri. So I understand the power of the Mississippi River. And New Orleans was either an entry point or a departure point, depending which way you were going on the river.
Yeah.
But is a really vibrant part of the Mississippi River history. And I just love it. I haven't been there for many years. You mentioned COVID, but I want to go back a little further than COVID. Sure. 2005, Hurricane Katrina. City was hit hard. It's been about 20 years since that happened. So do you feel, Walt, that the city has truly recovered, because it really had to deal with a lot of devastation and population loss 20 years ago? So do you really feel like it's back?
Oh, yeah. So such a painful memory. 20 years ago seems like a long time. Also, it seems like a blink of an eye. And there are so many memories that are so raw. And it's been challenging over the course of the last year to really kind of dig into that. Back 20 years ago, I was a very young lawyer. I was an assistant district attorney in the city of New Orleans, working as a prosecutor down at what we call Tulane and Broad Street, where the courthouse is. I had bought my first home just before Hurricane Katrina struck, and came home to find 14 feet of water and everything that I owned destroyed and flooded. Fortunately, I was in Baton Rouge for the storm and safe. And so thousands of lives lost, billions of dollars of damage. Um, Certainly, we continue to feel that. I mean, I don't believe that you ever really recover from something like that, but 20 years of progress, investment, hard work. Um, are we the same city that we were 20 years ago? No. I mean, that'll never be the case again. Something like that changes you forever. But from a recovery standpoint, there are a lot of indicators that we're stronger, more resilient, and a more vibrant community today than we were then. Certainly, there are things about our community that we'll always miss. But when you think about 20 years of change in society in general, across our nation, really across the world, technological advances. I mean, I sent my first text message during Hurricane Katrina.
Wow.
Um, and so imagine the iPhone didn't exist when Hurricane Katrina hit. And so when you really think about like the deep changes that have happened through society and all of the things we've been through in 20 years, this city has been through that as well and was in the process of recovering from real devastation. And so um, the culture, the people, the things that make this place special, a lot of that certainly remains, and maybe in some ways is stronger than it was even then because people have come to appreciate it more. Um, from a functionality standpoint, I'll say I know we are stronger in some important ways when it comes to hurricane protection, learning to live with water, infrastructure investments that have been made. Just 2 years ago, we had a Hurricane Ida, that struck New Orleans directly. Very similar path to Hurricane Katrina, very similar size and power of storm. And yet, with a $16 billion flood protection system that was built by the federal government and with state partners in those 20 years between Katrina and now, we hosted a convention about 6 days later.
Wow.
Not to say there wasn't extreme damage to some businesses and to areas outside of New Orleans.
Hmm.
And we're obviously very cognizant of our regional neighbors and partners as much as the people inside the city itself. But the
Hmm.
city itself is probably more prepared than any other city on the Gulf Coast to sustain that kind of impact and be able to bounce back from it. So 20 years is a long time, and certainly, I don't think we'll ever get over what we experienced then, and we still mourn the loss that so many families had. But a really magical place, a special place, one worth fighting for, and I think people learned that lesson 20 years ago. It's made us stronger as a community in a lot of ways.
Well, and when you think about the long history of New Orleans, 20 years really is the blink of an eye. New Orleans has survived many things. I don't remember what year it was founded, but maybe you can share that with us.
Yeah, we just celebrated our tricentennial in 2018. So 300 years, 1718 was the founding of the city of New Orleans. And as you referenced on the way in, the Mississippi River is a huge part of that. I mean, this city exists because of the Mississippi River. It was founded and settled and developed to be a critical international port. Obviously, as we approach celebrating 250 years of our country in the next year, more than ever, I think we're reminded of the essential nature and the indispensable nature of the city of New Orleans to the nation. And we continue to. This river touches 38 states. We continue to bring in product and then also move out product of our farmers across the nation to the world. And so it's it is an old city. It has seen a lot. It has been through a lot. And I love your point about 20 years being the blink of an eye. We talk about that a lot because you think about the need for development and infrastructure investment and other things, and sometimes the disruptions that causes. And in the lives of one person, a 20-year disruption is really essential. I mean, it's huge. It's critical. It's a big thing. But in the life of a city that's 300 years old, it really is the blink of an eye, and ultimately, um, something that sometimes is well worth going through that inconvenience to be able to get to a brighter future.
Well, and anything that lasts has to survive some challenges. And any city, any place on earth, one of the things I like to read about is archaeology. So any
Mhm.
place on earth where people have lived for a long time, you find layers. So even in a city that's modern that people are living in today, there's an underground. Like if you've ever been to Edinburgh, Scotland, part of the
Have it.
city is completely underground, but there's still people living there. So New Orleans has a lot of layers. It's got a really unique spirit. As I said, I haven't been there for a long time, but the couple of times I got to visit, really enjoyed the city because I love history. It's got a lot of history, beautiful architecture, and you are resilient in New Orleans. And so those are all things I think that attract people and would attract people to come for any sort of an event, whether it's a conference or a wedding or some other kind of special training that people might want to do. So since you've taken over, well, I shouldn't say taken over. You haven't taken over New Orleans,
Mm,
unless something's going on I don't know about. But since you've stepped into this leadership role, let me rephrase that.
mm.
You said you came to New Orleans and Company about 5 years ago. Now you're in the leadership role. So, what are some of the things that you see in New Orleans? You grew up there. Not a lot of people that run CVBs actually were born and raised in the city that they now get to represent. So, what are some of the things you love about New Orleans that you think you would like to show other people?
Well, it is a huge honor to be able to work for and advocate for and promote and market the city every day. And to your point about layers, I do think there's such a rich culture here of preservation and historic preservation as it relates to architecture, as it relates to culture. We want to preserve and protect those things that make us special, but we also want to lean into the things that allow us to move forward and be innovative and use the creativity to usher in a new period of attraction to the city. And so that's really a strong focus of ours. It's how do you balance progress with preservation? How do you protect those individuals who are creating culture, musicians and artists and culture bearers that are the supporters and the creators of the things that make the community interesting? How do you find ways to help them monetize those creations and the other things that flow from that creativity? And how do you introduce people to that in a really authentic way? And so those things aren't easy, but they're really worth the focus and worth the effort. And New Orleans exists in the imagination of so many people in so many ways. I call it magical because I do think it's a magical place that's not like everywhere else. And sometimes that's really good, and sometimes I guess people would say it's not so great. But it is a unique place, a really a joyful place, a lot of celebration, and the way of life that I think people embrace here is one that has, garnered attention. I mean, lately we've seen some publications that have said people in New Orleans really know how to find work-life balance. And people in New Orleans really know how to celebrate, and they know how to get work done, but also enjoy their life. And music's a big part of that, and food is a big part of that, and family is a big part of that, and hospitality is a big part of that. I think people really enjoy being able to welcome people into our community to sort of experience it. I think unlike some places where there are like particular attractions, or there are particular monuments or things that people want to see when they go there, I think people want to experience and get a feeling for like how people live their life in a city like New Orleans when they come here. And so we want to show people that. We want to show people that this is a welcoming culture where everyone can find a place, and where people of all kinds from all backgrounds are welcome, are safe, are included, are welcome to the celebration. But we also want to show them that we're a serious place for business as well. And so that's a real interesting dynamic that we have. People know about Bourbon Street. They know about Mardi Gras. They know about these wild sort of celebrations that have become famous, and music and food and culture are all a part of that. They also know that we're a place where we've had our 11th Super Bowl recently. We host iconic concert events like the Eras Tour and other major concert events that move around the world. while we're a city of 365,000 people, that's relatively small. We tend to punch above our weight class regularly with these iconic events. And part of the reason why is because we have an experienced team in this city of hospitality professionals who know how to do that. And so you can have your conference, your meeting, your convention in a city like New Orleans. You can expect to get great infrastructure, a great convention center, a great Superdome. And you can also expect that your attendees are going to get that rich cultural experience. And so you do have to tell both stories, though, because sometimes that party environment, that, joie de vivre, the celebration, it for a meeting planner or for somebody who's trying to put an event together, there can be a little bit of are we going to be able to get the work done in a city that's known for fun and for jubilation? The reality is the answer is yes, of course. And that comes from the expertise of the team that we have, but also the broader community has. And we want to make sure that people get that. You don't want to lose the opportunity to do the serious business because you happen to be culturally rich, interesting, and fascinating in so many other ways. You don't want to be perceived as frivolous when there are two sides of the coin. And that's something special about our city that I think it sometimes escapes people, even in the conversations that I get to have, where people say things like, well, I've never been to Mardi Gras and I didn't go when I was in college, so I guess I'll never go now. And I often say, Mardi Gras is not an over the top, celebration that can't be approached by people of all ages. Like, this is not Mardi Gras is what you make of it, and the vast majority of it is tradition, it's family, it's friends coming together along a parade route, and in an environment that is about just being together and celebrating together. Often the creation of others, whether that's a marching band or a beautiful float or the other things that go along with it. So I think we're a complicated city and complex in that way, that there are several different narratives, and being able to talk about that is something that I value.
Well, and I think if you explain to people what Mardi Gras actually means, which is Fat Tuesday from the French, and it's the last day before Lent because of the Catholic background that New Orleans has. So I agree with you. It doesn't have to be some crazy spring break type event.
And it's really not. I mean, if you want to find that environment, it's available for you. But if you want to find an environment that is family friendly, that is an upscale sort of tailgating experience almost, where people are kind of cooking out and hanging out and spending time with each other year after year in similar places along the parade route with family, friends, and really, just kind of expressing their joy and their traditions. That's really what you find. And I find that the more people we can invite in to see it, they walk away with sort of a different impression of what it is. We certainly welcome people to come and let loose, be who they are, and do the things that they want to do. That kind of happens down in the French Quarter area of the city. And then in the uptown area of the city, it's a little bit more family focused and a little bit more about the traditions and about the friends and that kind of celebration. So it's an amazing event, one that's a real spectacle, and ultimately a celebration of creativity and in many ways innovation. And it's a great thing to be known for that. But you also want to be known for the excellence with which you deliver on an event like that. When you think about the complexity of putting on an event like that, the way that our public safety forces, our trash collection, our public services, all of that works in concert to be able to make that happen. It is another annual demonstration of excellence with which you produce an event that is really special and iconic. And I think sometimes locals can take for granted how much work that takes and how good you have to be able to deliver on it. But our city really does. And we call it the world's largest free party. It's put on by the people of New Orleans and by the organizations that make up Mardi Gras, and is not a corporate sponsorship or anything like that. It's really, really unique in modern society to continue to have this level of celebration.
And New Orleans reminds me somewhat of Paris. It's what you make of it. You can, as you said, you can find any kind of experience that you're looking for in New Orleans. And I think that's the beauty of an older city. As I mentioned, I grew up in St. Louis, which is also an older city, and very much with the French influence too. So
Yes.
being able to have that kind of history and being able to have the family fun and the let's go cut loose fun
Yeah.
is really important. But I think also as a destination for conferences, conventions, other kinds of special events, New Orleans has a lot to offer. Now, one of the main attractions for a convention, of course, would be the Ernest Morial Convention Center. So, has there been any changes to the convention center? Has it grown? Has it been upgraded? What's new there?
Yeah, so I mean, very exciting days at the Ernest and Morial Convention Center. $557 million renovation plan is about halfway completed. The next couple of years, we will complete that, I believe, by the end of 27. So hundreds of meeting rooms have been updated. About half of the exhibit halls have been updated. Technology updates. A really beautiful linear park in the front of the convention center that runs a couple of miles across Convention Center Boulevard. That's modern, that's inviting, that's become a new place for gathering and outdoor events, and also like sustainably developed rain gardens and bioswales and things that help to retain stormwater and rain and other things that are impacting the area. And so really well done, really well designed. Ultimately, also removed a lane of traffic from Convention Center Boulevard, which has slowed things down there a bit and just improved the overall experience. But they've made some amazing upgrades. Also, about 30 acres adjacent to the convention center that we're calling the River District is under development. New office buildings, new housing being established, new entertainment venues. And of course, we expect some additional hotel development in that area as well. Currently in the planning stages and moving towards finalization are the plans to build a new 1,000 room Omni Hotel that'll be adjacent to the convention center and a really high quality new convention center headquarters hotel option for guests. We expect that to be in the offering by 2030 or so. And excited to begin selling that and promoting that to our customers that many have been here for many, many years, and many that we hope will begin to join us, and adds another layer of service to our already very mature convention city. I mean, we've got 26,000 hotel rooms within about a 2-mile triangle between the convention center, the Superdome, and the French Quarter that really makes this super walkable, almost a campus-like feel, in a way that for major events and major conferences is really, I think, enjoyable, where you really sort of own the city. People know you're here, you're a part of everything that's going on, and there's some excitement around that that you just can't quite get in most cities, frankly, and that gives us a competitive advantage in a lot of different ways. It's one of the largest convention centers in America, sixth largest. 140 meeting rooms. I said about half, I think, have been renovated already, and the next half are on the way. So I think a lot of excitement there, a lot of sustainability efforts. The building in its renovation stage has been LEED certified. It is a almost 40-year-old building, and to achieve LEED certification in a retrofit like that is unheard of. So really unprecedented commitment to sustainability, which I think is important from a facility standpoint, but it's also great to see an entity like the Convention Center Authority taking a leadership role in that and promoting that throughout the community, and other businesses and organizations following that lead. So we're really proud of the work they've done there. We love working with them, and our team is, almost seamless in their operations with the team at the convention center. So marketing and selling the city together with them and such a great facility is really another valuable partnership that we've got here in New Orleans.
Do you have any major events coming up in the next couple of years? You mentioned that you really punch above your weight class getting big iconic conferences, or I'm sorry, not conferences, but concerts
And
is what I meant to say. Like you get big concerts, Super Bowls. So do you have anything fun like that coming up?
So, I mean, we just finished the Super Bowl just a couple of months ago. We're already working on the next one. So we certainly hope that within the next 5 to 6 years, we can be talking about the next one. We're also looking at future Final Four opportunities and other major sporting events like that. We have IPW, which is a major industry event from U.S. Travel, the International Sales Event IPW, coming in 2027. Numerous large conferences and conventions. We are in the process of announcing we've got a championship UFC fight coming up in the next couple of weeks in July. You know, plenty of major associations that will call home New Orleans over the next 10 to 15 years. I mean, we're booking into the 2040s for some of our bigger convention customers. So lots of big events. We fully expect some of these bigger ones, but we're also kind of just finishing this cycle. WrestleMania has announced that between 29 and 31, we will have a WrestleMania back in the city of New Orleans. That's been a really interesting event for us. And so, there's really no telling what's right around the corner. We've got a lot of things on the burner, and excited to welcome them to the city. We've got a bunch of big events this summer. U.S. Gymnastics is here in New Orleans for the first time, so we'll get like a preview of some of the Olympic performers. And Pokemon International Championship is back in New Orleans this summer. Our goal is to bring as many varied events as we possibly can. We recognize that with a variety of events comes impact to parts of the community that are not always impacted by every event. And I'm really proud of our sales team that's out there, pounding the pavement and looking for these types of opportunities to bring back to our community. Exciting to see the continued growth. We're just getting some data on 2024 visitor numbers, and 2019 was the high point for New Orleans. 19.7 million visitors, $10.5 billion spent, the highest we've ever been in recorded history. Of course, COVID came right after that. This year, we were excited to say that 2024 brought 19 million people to the city, so a little less, but the $19 million mark it's only the second time we've ever reached that mark, and $10.4 billion in spending, so just about 100 million less than that high point of 19. So we're seeing great things ahead for us. We're seeing growth. We're seeing opportunity, and excited about what the future holds.
It sounds like you have a very exciting future, and I've learned something. I did not know Pokemon was that big a thing still. So
it's enormous. It's enormous. We had it last year. We were really surprised at how big it was, and the thrill that the fans had. I think we had over 15,000 people in attendance, and we're looking forward to having them back in the next couple of weeks. And we've actually recently started building a pickleball event that we call Pickle Fest, because in New Orleans everything's a fest. We partnered with Drew Brees and the Brees Dream Foundation, the convention center, and the Greater New Orleans Sports Authority here in New Orleans to create that event a couple years ago, and excited about that coming back in August as well. The first year we had 22 states represented and hundreds of participants. That's only growing, and not the biggest of events yet, but really an exciting one, and another sort of opportunity to really be at that championship level. And having a partner like Drew Brees and the Brees Foundation has been really fun. And another thing to do in the summer months here in New Orleans.
So before we wrap up our conversation today, you're born and raised New Orleans resident, still living there, still living in the city. What do you like to do in New Orleans when you have some free time?
So I have two daughters that are 8 and 7. So all of my free time is of course spent with them. And one of the things that we love to do is spend time in an area of the city that's not always celebrated as the most tourism-centric place. But it's called City Park. It doesn't have the most imaginative name, but it's called City Park. City Park's actually one of the largest urban parks in America. It's bigger than Central Park. And we spend a lot of time there. A lot of their soccer games are in City Park, but also City Park is home to the New Orleans Museum of Art. It's home to the Louisiana Children's Museum. It's home to several beautiful lagoons where you can kayak and rent little pedal boats and pedal around the lagoons. It's also got a Café du Monde in it. So beignets are a big thing for my girls and I. They've got a beautiful little area called Storyland and an amusement park. Um, and it's also got 900-year-old oak trees in it and one of the world's greatest sculpture gardens next to the New Orleans Museum of Art. So it is a truly special and iconic place. It also got a couple of golf courses. We're not big golfers, but golfers enjoy it. We love City Park. We spend a lot of time there, even if it's just walking through it and the kids running around and playing. Um, and of course we like to do the things that other families like to do. We like to go to the French Quarter on the weekends and go get some beignets, walk around, stick our head into some of the museums. The Historic New Orleans Collection is, one of the finest museums out there. Beautiful, right in the heart of the French Quarter, and explore. The kids love Audubon Zoo and the Audubon Aquarium, which is right on our riverfront. And those are the kind of things that we spend a lot of time doing. Of course, my wife and I love to go out to eat. Several amazing new restaurants popping up all the time here. New Orleans per capita has got as many restaurants as anyone. And I think people often get caught up in this whole Cajun and Creole New Orleans food, which we love. And we certainly love to cook that at home as well. But we are also home to some really special new restaurants that are pushing the limits on international cuisine. We've got some amazing new Mexican restaurants. Acamaya comes to mind, really beautiful, incredible place. Dakar Nola, which is Singalese, an amazing place as well. Kingsway and Saffron Nola, which are infused with like Indian cuisine as well as other Asian influences. I mean, of course, we have Emeralds and so many of the real classics like Commander's Palace and on and on. So, I mean, we love to go out to eat and we love to take the kids out and let them experience these different cuisines as well so that they can, develop a palate for it. But, and then we just, at the end of the day, people ask what my favorite restaurant is a lot. And I never answer that question. There are just too many. Truth is, we like going to dinner with family and friends and people that we care about. And I don't feel like I've ever had a bad meal in New Orleans. I don't think you can really have one. And so the company matters a lot. And we're fortunate to have a lot of family around us and a lot of friends that we get to share the food and the music and the culture with. And that's also what people get when they come to visit. They often leave having met some locals that they're just, I think, often captivated with. And I think people feel real pride in this place and want to share it and be ambassadors for it. So it certainly makes our team's work really worthwhile and rewarding to be able to bring opportunity to our community for businesses and for residents to be able to thrive.
Well, that sounds lovely. Those are all the kinds of things my husband and I like to do, everything you just described.
Well, you'll have to come join us and we'll have to do dinner.
Yeah,
We'll
I would
make
love
sure we
that.
officially invite you to come visit us since it's been a while for you. I think we'd love to have you and either give you some advice or help show you around a little bit.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much. I will take you up on that eventually. I'm
Great.
not sure when. No, I would love to come back. And it's great to connect with you, Walt, because now I know someone who can give me the best advice about how to get the most out of my visit. So
And let me also make a great plug for neworleans.com. That is our website. And I think our team has done a remarkable job of building a really compelling site that has just so much information and makes me really proud to hear from locals who say they use it all the time to kind of figure out what they want to do on the weekends and throughout the week. But certainly we know that people around the world use it a lot, and we're very, very proud of it. We keep it very up to date, and it's a great resource to find out what's happening and what's offered, and very proud of it. NewOrleans.com is a great way to get in touch with our team, but also to just get in touch with the city.
That's wonderful. That's a great suggestion. Thank you. And as we wrap up this conversation, which I have really enjoyed, so thank you for joining me.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it too. It's been great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really fun. And again, it's not typical to find a leader of a CVB that actually was born and raised in the city they get to represent. So that's always fun too. But well, I always like to ask my guests, what's the one thought you'd like the audience to take away today? And then you've already shared the website, neworleans.com. But if you'd like to share another way for them to get in touch with you as well, we'd love to hear it.
Well, I'll make it easy for you. If you want to get in touch with me directly, my email is Walt, WALT, at neworleans.com. Certainly, if you want to get in touch with our team, neworleans.com is the best way. If I could share anything, I would just say that um, it's so important to us that people continue to visit. It's a huge part of our economy, but it's also a big part of just who we are. I sense that when we have big events, when we have special events, when we have things like the Taylor Swift concert or the Super Bowl, you know, people feel better here. There's a real like uplift to the morale of the community because I think people really have a truly a deep pride for this place, and we recognize that it helps us to remember that it's such a special place because like everyone else, we're just people making our way through the world on a day-to-day basis, going to work, taking care of our children and living our lives. And you know, that can be mundane at times, but these special events, these events that happen, when we get to host them, you really get a sense that the people here have a sense of pride that really comes out when we get to share what's unique about our home. And that just feels good. And it feels good to welcome people. I think we all kind of understand and live by this motto that the more you give, the more you receive. And I think that people just feel so much better when we have folks who are visiting us. It's an uplifting thing for the whole community. Certainly the financial and economic impacts are critical, and our team's really focused on driving that impact for our community. But it's really uplifting when you get that sort of personal uplift that you see the smiles on people's faces, the sense of purpose you have when someone stops you on the street and says, "How do I get to Commander's Palace?" Or "How do I get to the streetcar line?" Or "How do I get to the French Quarter?" And you see local folks that really just like engage. And I saw it during the Taylor Swift concert. I was waiting in line for beignets at City Park that I was talking about earlier, and with my kids and my father. And I was talking to some folks that were visiting. They were from Virginia, and they were talking about what they were going to do. And I sat there with them in line for about 15 minutes, giving them various advice on where to go and ultimately telling them to go to neworleans.com. And it was so fun. And when they walked away, my dad was like, "Do you think they knew that they were talking to the head of the Convention and Visitors Bureau?" I was like, "I know they don't. I certainly didn't tell them." But it was a lot of fun. And that's something that I get to do fairly regularly, but I know that people throughout the community enjoy having similar conversations with folks that come to visit. And when you come to our city, you really are making friends, and you really are connecting with people in a really authentic way. And I don't think that's the case everywhere. I certainly read stories about folks who are, not always thrilled with tourism and with visitors. The welcome that you get here is something that's authentic and real and exciting for people. And it means a lot to us. So we hope you'll come soon. If you haven't been, please make it a point to come. And if you have, come back again. And we certainly look forward to seeing you.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Walt, for sharing your time with us this week.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure.
Well, we have to go rogue for now, but we'll be back next time with another exciting episode. We also want to thank USAE News for introducing us to Walt so we could learn more about New Orleans and what's going on there. If you'd like to learn more about Rogue Tulips Consulting and how we can help your company or organization bloom outside the box, check out our website, roguetulips.com. If you're getting ready for the CAE exam this fall, or maybe even in spring of 26, check out our education page and learn more about our ethics course and our CAE prep courses. If you want to know what's on my mind this week, because you never know what I'm going to say next, check out my blog on the blog page. So thanks, everyone. If you want to find this episode and share it with someone, go to our podcast page. And on behalf of Walt and myself, we will see you next time. That's it for this week. I hope you really loved this episode as much as I did. Thanks for listening. Learn more about how our experience and knowledge at Rogue Tulips can give your organization the strategic edge to reach its goals. Check out our website at roguetulips.com. We'd love to talk with you and see how we can work together. Thanks.